New video, and it's a how to play Force of Will. And because I've had similar messages because I can't find a good way to find out how to play this game, and I thought I'd give a good how to play this game, and I'll go ahead and go over each type of card and then give you a good scenario of how like this sets go, and then I'll give you some good information on things you could expect. I first start off with several cards, and I'll go over specific card types and everything you basically can learn about this game. Let's start off right here, Jacob. First, you start off with your ruler. This is basically the key, like, I don't know, this is like the dude that makes your deck what your deck is. Like, when you classify a deck, usually you say, I'm playing Alice, and then you say the colors. So basically, if you could be playing Alice in 5 colors, so red, and the colors are red, white, blue,
but it's
black.
Usually 4 colors, though.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, in general, those 5 colors, there's red, white, black, blue, and green. And the greens, the colors are, they're not really called colors in this game. They're called, they have different names. So you got flame, water, light, darkness, and wind. Which are all types of will. And their type is will. So, and will is sort of like magic's mana, and it's almost identical. And this is Alice, and when her ability literally says pay Jagavate, which is judgment, which means to flip her over. And it says you can pay any number of mana or will, and you'll flip. And once you pay a certain amount of colors, you'll get a certain ability. Like the white, which is light, will gain you 1,000 life. Blue is draw a card. Red is deal 1,000 damage to a resonator. Black makes your opponent discard a card, and green destroys up to 1 target addition. Now, and if you activated Moodjar, which is a legendary or a pure stone, and it allows you to give her flying and haste for the turn, which haste is swiftness in this game. And basically, I just told you each color, and each color does that ability. Red burns, blue draws and bounces, green destroys instants, counters things, destroys additions, counters things, and stuff like that. Green's very versatile, and it ramps as well. As in magic, it gets a bunch of mana.
Ramps and counters.
Yep. And then black destroys resonators, discards cards, and does minus factors. There are other rulers besides Alice, obviously, for this game would not be diverse, even though she is the most versatile ruler. You got Cain, which is, well, Apostle Creation. He flips over for 1 fire, and he becomes a First Strike. First Strike is a type of ability, and he also, I'm not going to go into detail too much on him, he's just really good. You also have the Liberator of Wind. She's one of the most, I guess she's one of the other versatile rulers, and when she floats up playing 2 green, which is 2 wind, and a colorless, which means any color, and she searches for any card in your deck, and your opponent doesn't get to see it. She's also can tap herself when you have no cards in hand and draw 2 cards. She's really good.
Works very good against Pandora.
We're not going into too much detail yet. That's some of the rulers and some good ideas. We're going to go with the Resonators. Resonators are creatures or monsters, it would depend on what game you played, and they all have different abilities. And Activate is an instant speed in this game, and it takes, if you're going to tap your dude like this guy does to produce a green, you have to wait until the end of, after your turn is over, you can now tap it for its ability. You cannot do that on the turn it enters the field. You also have other types of Resonators. These are also, this one costs 1 green, this one costs 1 water. And this one draws cards. It draws 2, and you put 1 on top of your deck. And it also cannot be targeted by card effects. Actually, targeted period, I'm sorry. This one says 1 colorless, 1 green. So, and this one has an inner ability, and this just like this one does. And this one reveals the top of your stone deck, which is how you get your stones. And if it's a green, it comes on the board. See, this one's a green, which is wind. I'm sorry, it says wind. I'll get into the stones in a second. I just told you most of the colors, so it's simple. You got Spiral Spare is a normal spell, which is a spell chant. I'm sorry, I skipped the card. This has swiftness, as I said earlier. It's another resonator, and it costs 1 red, as you see. This is a spell, and it's chant speed, so it's like it's not an instant speed. You cannot play during the player's turn. And it says discard. Your opponent discards 2 at random if your ruler is Pandora, and if it's not, they discard a choice. It's a really good card. This card is very versatile. It's called Zeke's. Pay 2 green, and you get to Pompadour by 200, or you can make something it can't be targeted for the rest of, can't be targeted this turn. And it also says you can counter target normal spell summon, and it also shovels you can shovel either graveyard. Absolute Cake Zone, you pay 1 green and 1 colorless, and you can counter a normal, you can counter any type of spell, not a summon. And it basically says if you have Gretel or Hansel on the board, you draw a card as well. So that's really good. You also have this, and this is Chase. It basically tells you how to respond. Responding to this game is called chasing, and it says this card cannot be chased to, and it says deal 800 to target Resonator or J Ruler, which is the other side of the ruler. This is an addition, which is sort of like an enchantment in Magic, or it can be like an equip card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or a field spell. It depends on what card it is. This one basically says you can cast cards from your graveyard as if they were in your hand, and if your card would leave the field or anywhere, if it would go to the graveyard, it get banished. So from your cards anyway, it's not your opponent's. Also, this is a standby chant, and this basically you can pay 2 to set it face down, and then you can use it when its requirement's met, when its trigger is met, and it destroys. If your opponent has 3 dudes, you can blow up 2. Also, I showed you a bunch of small dudes earlier on in the video. These are all like low-cost creatures that you'll see very relevant in the game. But we also have boss monsters. This is just a good example. It has really high stats, 1500, because you have 4,000 life in this game, which is almost half your life. It's equivalent to a Blue Eyes White Dragon in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it has target attack. Target attack means you can swing it where you want, no matter what if it's tapped. And basically, it also says you have to sacrifice a dude at the end of the turn. It also has flying. These flying only works whenever, like the abilities like First Strike, Flying, and what is another one? And Death Touch only work whenever they're swinging. So basically, things like that they're turned off when they're tapped, which is how you attack. And he's just really good, splashing a lot of decks. I was going to go into detail on the stones. I'm sorry, I should have shown you earlier. This is a basic wind stone, and this is a basic red stone. I didn't want to go into too much detail about the stones. They're very simple. If you see the color, it tells you it produces that much by tapping. So if you tap the green, you get a green mana, and mana floats until the end of the turn, and it empties at your upkeep, which is whenever you untap. So you can't just float mana for the rest of the turn if you have it open. This one produces a moon, which is a type of will, which is not, it's technically not a type of will. It's not one of the 5 colors, so it cannot be. You have to pay 200 life to get any color will. So if you need to pay a will, but it can be treated as colorless. This is a dual, and it produces red and green. It's also treated as a wind stone. So if you were to reveal a Gretel, the wind stone, it would hit the field. Same for this one. This is green and black, white and black, red and black, and white and blue. These are just some of the stones. There are a few more, like the green and blue. And I think I've left out a couple of them. But this is basically the dual stones you'll see. And they're just, like duels in Magic. And you can have 10 to 20 in your power. This is a legendary. Basically, it's a special Magic stone, a true Magic stone, and you can tap to produce a green, but it's not treated as a wind stone because it doesn't say it on the card. And it's just a really good card, and it has ability, unlike the other stones. These are altar arts, and they're also special stones and true stones. You can only basically, if one of these would hit, what I said legendary earlier, because if one hits the board as the same copy, one will die. So you only usually play one of these in your stone pile, which you have 10. And these are supposed to be red, but these are altar arts, and they're really cool. There's blue, green, red, white, and black, like I said. But this is purple. That's mainly it, but I'm going to go ahead and show you a quick go through of the game. There's other things. You have a mulligan in this game. So first off, you start right here with your ruler, and just to say this is my deck. I'm going to draw 5 cards at the start of the game. The first player does not draw for turn, but it's really relevant to go first in this game. You get it first in mulligan. So if I say I didn't want to open up with this card because I don't think I need it, or I draw into it, I have multiple copies, I can put them on the bottom of the deck. So basically I'll put these on the bottom, and I'll draw that same amount of cards. You do not shuffle, you put them on the bottom. This is your opening hand, you tap for a stone at the beginning of the turn. When this enters, you can counter as any color. So I'm just going to call green. Or wind, I'm sorry. This is what you technically would call it, but everybody knows what you mean. Then you can pay a green, and you can cast an elf. I'm sorry. And then when you draw, and then you untap. This is very important because you can do stuff in their upkeeps. Or their recovery phase, I'm sorry.
Really matters.
And, you get a stone from your pile. It's another green, so I can pay Gretel for a win. And then I'm going to reveal the top of my style, and it's a red. It goes back on top, you revealed it, because it was not a win stone. Next turn, and it just keeps going like that. And when you say you want to tap for mana to play a card, like Absolute Cake Zone to counter one of their spells, you can do that by tapping that and that. It's that simple. Basically, when you untap again, draw for turn, tap for a stone. I know what it is. I can pay this. It has swiftness. I can swing with it on the turn it's summoned, and it has 300 stats. You see the stats at the bottom. And basically, it's really simple. Outside of you can swing at creatures if they're the resonators if they're tapped, and it's really it's a tactical game, sort of like Magic, but it also has other factors that you'll realize that matter. Same, just like this, you tap for stones, and you have to pay attention to your life totals. And you only have 4,000 life. And the matches are shorter usually unless you're playing the control mirror. I'm not going to go too much detail on all the meta, but the meta is very I don't know. There's about 8 really good decks. The rest aren't. There's not too many sets right now. There's only 3 sets out, and there's 2 more coming out on Friday, and I'm really excited for it. Thanks for watching, and if you have any other questions, just feel free to comment, and I'll answer them down below. And thanks for watching, and please subscribe.